Hello and welcome to the guide video for the GlowBit Stick 1x8 module. To follow along, you're going to need the GlowBit Stick 1x8, either a Raspberry Pi or a Raspberry Pi Pico, and some connection wires. Let's get started. Out of the box, the GlowBit Stick does not come with any pin headers or wires soldered to it, so the first thing you're going to need to do is solder something on. You can solder a 4-pin header to the long edge like so, or you can solder a 3-pin header to the short edge. It's really up to you. To connect the GlowBit Stick to either a Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pi Pico, you're going to need 3 wires. We're going to be using a red wire for our power or VCC connection, a white wire for the data in connection, and a black wire for the ground connection. We'll start with showing you how to wire the GlowBit Stick to a Raspberry Pi. Firstly, the VCC connection or power supply connection will go to the pin labeled as a plus on the GlowBit Stick, and this can go to either the 3.3 or a 5-volt pin on the Raspberry Pi. We'll start with a 5-volt pin just in the top right there. The next connection we'll do is the ground connection. That will go to the minus pin on the GlowBit Stick, and the easiest ground connection on the Raspberry Pi pin header would be the third down from the top on the right side. We'll go there. For the last connection, the data in connection, we'll grab our white wire and go from the D in pin or the DI pin on the GlowBit Stick, and it needs to go to GPIO 18 on the Raspberry Pi. This happens to be the 6th pin down on our pin header. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When setting up the GlowBit library on a Raspberry Pi, the most crucial thing to know is that you must run Thonny as root. To do this, click the terminal icon, type in sudo Thonny, and we now have Thonny running as root. If you don't have this menu up here, there'll be a little link on the right side here. You click that, restart Thonny, and the menu should appear. To install the libraries, you click Tools, Manage Packages. Now there are 2 libraries we need to install. The first one is called rpi-ws281x. This one here is the user space Raspberry Pi library for the ws281x LEDs. The GlowBits use ws2812B LEDs, so we need to install this library. Next, we need to install the GlowBit library. Type in GlowBit, click Search on Pipey, and there's the first result. We click GlowBit, click Install, and the library is now installed. To make sure the GlowBit library has been installed correctly, we'll type in import GlowBit, press enter, and if we don't get any error messages, we're good to go. For the connections on the Raspberry Pi Pico, we're just going to use a breadboard to keep things nice and neat. We'll put the Raspberry Pi Pico at one end of the breadboard, like so, and then we can take our GlowBit stick and put it somewhere on the right side here so it doesn't have any existing connections to the Raspberry Pi Pico. Making the same connections as before on the Raspberry Pi Pico, we'll take our red wire for VCC and we'll take the power from what's called the V-bus pin at the top left here. Basically, this just connects directly to the USB input power. This will then go to the positive pin, the plus pin, on the GlowBit stick, which is on the right side there. Next, we'll take our ground wire. So the easiest ground pin on the Raspberry Pi Pico would be the 3rd pin in from the left-hand edge, and we'll connect this to the negative pin on the GlowBit stick. Lastly, we'll take our white wire and go from the DI, the data in pin on the GlowBit stick, and connect this to pin 18 on the Raspberry Pi Pico. Pin 18 on the Raspberry Pi Pico happens to be the 4th in from this upper right edge here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll plug that in there. For the rest of this guide, we'll run all the examples on the Raspberry Pi Pico setup. The last thing you'll need to do then is plug in your Raspberry Pi Pico to the USB in your PC and then open Thonny. If you haven't used Thonny with the Raspberry Pi Pico before, you can check out our guide on that. With Thonny open and your Raspberry Pi Pico plugged in, the first thing you're going to need to do is install the GlowBit library. To do this, with Thonny open, we'll click on Tools and then Manage Packages and do a search for GlowBit. Searching on Pipey, we'll find the GlowBit result there, click the link, click Install, and then wait for the GlowBit library to be copied onto the Raspberry Pi Pico. Once the library has been successfully installed, you should see this lib folder with glowbit.py and petme128.py inside it. With the library installed, it's time to run our first demo. Open the GlowBit Stick guide and go to the section entitled Running a Test Demo and copy and paste the first code example from that section into Thonny. Press Ctrl S to save the file, We're going to save it to the Raspberry Pi Pico and call it main.py. With the file saved, we can then press Ctrl R to execute the script, and you'll see some colorful test demos appear on your GlowBit stick. The next thing we're going to do is look at how to control the color of individual pixels on the GlowBit stick module. Going to the guide, you can find the section Lighting Up Individual Pixels, and as before, copy and paste the first code example into Thonny. We can then press Ctrl R and that will automatically save that script and then run it. After running the script, you'll see that the first two LEDs have been illuminated, the first one white and the second one a bluish color. The crucial things to see in the script are the pixels set function. This takes a pixel number and illuminates it with a particular color. The number is an integer between 0 or 7, where 0 is the LED on the left and 7 is the LED on the right. And color is a special GlowBit color value. In this first example, it's been created with the function stick.white, which just returns a white color. There's several other color functions you can find in the guide. The other option is to use what's called the RGB color function, and this takes a red, green, and blue value, all scaled between 0 and 255. When you run the pixel set function, it doesn't actually change the color of the physical LED yet. What it does is write to an internal frame buffer. In order to change the color of the LEDs sitting on your desk, you need to execute the pixels show function. The next thing we're going to look at is filling every pixel on the GlowBit stick with the same color. Moving to the guide, you can find the section entitled Filling All Pixels with a Solid Color, copy and paste the first example into Thonny. Hitting Ctrl R to run this example, you should see all of the colors on the GlowBit stick light up with yellow. The way this example works is it gets the yellow color from the stick.yellow function and then passes that to the stick.pixelsFill function. This, as the name suggests, fills every single pixel on your GlowBit stick with whatever color you've given it. A call to pixel show then moves that frame buffer information onto the physical LEDs. Back to the guide, we can move on to the next example. Scrolling down to the section entitled The Color Wheel, we can copy and paste the example that's there into Thonny. Pressing Ctrl R, this will then light up all of the LEDs with a color spectrum. The core of this example is a call to the function stick.wheel. This function takes a single integer argument somewhere between 0 and 255 and returns a rainbow color. We've put this function inside an index that loops over all 8 pixels on our GlowBit stick, and each time it goes to a new pixel, it changes the color slightly. You can see this number 36 increments the angle of that color wheel by 36 between each pixel, so it goes from red to red with all the rainbow colors in between. Let's quickly remix this code and change this number 36 to a smaller number, let's say 10. We'll press Ctrl R to run it again, and you'll see that the rainbow on the GlowBit stick is now a lot slower. It's only going from red to green with a smaller increment between each pixel. The next example we're going to look at is pulses. In the context of the GlowBit stick, a pulse is a lit LED that automatically moves from one end to the other. Finding the pulses section in the guide, you can scroll down a little bit and again, copy and paste the code example into Thonny. Pressing Ctrl R to run this code, and you'll see a lit LED go from one end to the other, and then the pattern just repeats itself. Looking at the code, you'll see a while loop that keeps track of the frame number that's currently being displayed, and every 20th frame, it runs the function stick.addPulse. The way pulses work is you run addPulse to create the pulse internally, and then run the function stick.updatePulses, which draws that pulse to the display somewhere and then updates its position automatically. Above and below the call to update pulses, we've got a call to pixels fill stick black. This just makes all the pixels black to remove the old position of the pulse. And then we call stick.pixelShow after that in order to actually draw the new location of the pulse on the screen. As a quick remix, let's make this draw pulses more frequently. We'll change this number 20 here to a 5 so that every 5th frame it's going to draw a new pulse. Hit Ctrl R and we'll see rapid pulses going down our GlowBit stick. The last thing we're going to look at is how to draw a graph on the GlowBit stick. In this context, a graph is a line of a certain length that's set by an input value. Scrolling down to the graph section in the guide, we'll copy and paste the first example into Thonny. Pressing Ctrl R to run this example, you'll see the stick illuminate with a line that grows up and then shrinks. Creating these graphs is a bit of a two-step process. The first step is this call to stick.graph1d. It will return a graph object that you then need to put into your own variable. Then to draw that graph onto the display, you call stick.updateGraph with the graph object as the first argument and a new value as the second argument. You'll see in this code that we're displaying values between 0 and 255. By default, that's what the graph does. It takes the left-hand edge as a value of 0 and the right-hand edge as a value of 255. In order to display an animation of this graph growing and then shrinking, we have two loops in this code. The first loop counts from 0 to 255, updating the graph as it goes, and the second loop counts down from 255 to 0. By default, the graph draws a value of 0 on the left-hand edge and a value of 255 on the right-hand edge. If you want to change this, you can use the min value and max value keyword arguments when the graph is created. Going to the code, for example, we can change the max value to 512, and then when we rerun this code, it's only going to illuminate half of the pixels because 512 is then roughly in the middle. Hopefully this guide has been some great inspiration for your projects. If you make something cool from this guide or you just have some questions, leave a question on the article for this video.